Destiny 2 developers Bungie landed themselves in hot water with fans this week. Players figured out that the XP that you earn in-game slows right down the more that you play. This revelation was met with outrage, and now Bungie have tried to address the concerns head on. In my mind, I see them on a bungee rope coming down, and like the bungee rope's too long and they just dip in the hot water, you know, like some people do.
Destiny 2 fans have been a very, very angry bunch over the past week or so. And no, it's not because the game is shit lol, just play Warframe. It's because of the way XP is earned during Destiny 2's endgame. Bungie admitted to having a hidden scaling system in place that effectively slowed the rate of experience granted to players while still indicating it was coming in at a normal rate. In Destiny 2, you can only level up to level 20, so when you fill your XP bar every time after that, you unlock a bright engram, or in other words, a loot box. You can also buy these loot boxes instead of earning them through XP. And if it's too easy to earn them with XP, who would bother spending money on them, right?
Bungie were quick to come out with their hands up about the scaling system for XP a few days ago, admitting that this was indeed the case and immediately deactivating it. Problem is, they also doubled the actual XP required to level up and earn a bright engram. Destiny 2 were supposed to have a big live stream on Wednesday to promote its first chunk of DLC, The Curse of Osiris, which is due out on the 5th of December. That didn't happen. Bungie announced beforehand the stream would be pulled so that they can focus on addressing the tidal wave of anger from fans. And they did just that, releasing a lengthy, in-depth blog post on Wednesday instead of the planned live stream. But did it address the criticism?
Yeah, they are at least pretty candid, I suppose. The blog post, which also serves as kind of an extended patch notes for the Curse of Osiris update that's going to arrive for all players alongside the DLC. It started with an intro credited to senior devs Luke Smith and Chris Barrett. They said, quote, "Our team has been reading feedback and working on updates to improve the game. We've also been reading some tough criticism about our lack of communication, and we agreed we need to be more open. We know it's frustrating when there isn't enough of a dialogue with the development team. You have our commitment that we're going to do a better job going forward." Referring to the big secret XP scaling system specifically, it read, quote, "Our intention was to keep slower paced activities as rewarding as high intensity grinding without confusing variations in displayed XP values."
This is what my concern was with the first press release that they put out. They weren't addressing exactly the reason why they put the scaling system in, and now they're saying that intention was to keep slower paced activities as rewarding as higher paced activities. I mean, is that a good enough reason?
It's the problem I've got is the MMO-ish kind of jargon, and I guess that is what players want. They want the detail, don't they? But just when it's what they're answering fan criticism is just waffle. It's just words like that. It kind of makes it a bit impenetrable. Just say it a bit clearer, please. The quote goes on, "The silent nature of the mechanic betrayed the expectation of transparency that you have for Destiny 2. We were able to disable the system with a server-side change, but a new solution is now needed to rebalance XP in Destiny 2. We have begun that work and will continue to provide updates to you about timelines and specifics."
And as for the double XP requirement for leveling up, quote, "We already see that the newly adjusted 160,000 XP per level value means that leveling is too slow for some activities. We have begun the process of collecting data and recalibrating XP earn rates to improve them as quickly as possible. Expect to see a lot of conversation from our team on this front, as XP rewards are updated and brought back in line with player expectations."
Betrayed over transparency? You know, that's a strong word for them to be using.
Strong admission, isn't it?
Yeah, that's
We betrayed you.
That's good that they've admitted it, I suppose.
Good that they've admitted it, yeah. But is it though? I mean, obviously they got caught with their pants down.
Yeah.
We've already established that in the previous video. But isn't this exactly what you'd expect them to say? Someone who's been completely exposed. It's like, well, we'll try better next time.
Maybe not.
We will try harder. Thanks, but we expect that anyway. We expect you to do that in the first place. I'm kind of hopeful because they are being honest now at the very least. They're starting to okay, we did it because of this, and there's hope there for me.
They could have gone down the EA CFO Blake Jorgensen route of saying, the players think it's this, but it's not that, guys. They don't know what they're talking about. They're kind of focusing on the fact that it was a sneaky addition to the game, which that is bad, but the fact that it was there at all is also a problem, so that needs addressing. And they're looking at the details of it, and they're talking about adjustments and scaling and feedback and all this to try and make it work. So that, you know, that tells me that it's still going to be there in some form, because they need to make those loot boxes, those bright engrams, valuable. And though they're not valuable if you can earn them as easily as just playing the game a little bit. You fill up your XP bar, you just get awarded one when you level up. If that's too easy, then who's going to buy the loot boxes? That is ultimately what's going on here, and it's important that players realise that. I guess the fact that they pulled the live stream is pretty good as well, so they're kind of recognising that people don't want to be spoon-fed a load of hype for the DLC at the moment. They want the concerns to be addressed. I do think that they could be a little bit better on specifics at the moment, and like I did say that they're putting a lot of detail in there with the MMO-ish kind of waffle earlier, but I think that they just need to just be very, very clear in future, and just remember this experience and make sure that with everything now, they just spell it out clearly so that there's no chance of anything like this happening again, and so that players just know what they're getting into and they understand what's going on. Clarity is what is important in situations like this, and they just need to keep this up.
They're obviously feeling the weight of expectation now from fans, and I think this was seen in the EA case last week, the microtransactions that all blew up. Like, more and more, these developers are being scrutinised for the decisions with very specific gameplay mechanics. Now, years ago, they might have gotten away with this, where they scale the XP and nobody knows, because, you know, they're pulling the wool over our eyes, and we don't notice that XP isn't being earned as fast as it should be, and they would get away with that. But in this day and age, they just can't do it, because there's so many like informed gamers like bearing down, and channels like ours and other YouTube channels and like articles that will just blow this up and like expose them for the underhand things that they're doing.
And tools like Reddit, it takes one player to post one thread on Reddit. That's where this comes from.
Do you still play Destiny 2? Has this addressed a lot of the concerns that you had? Do you feel hopeful for the future? Let us know down in the comments below. Like the video if you've enjoyed it. Subscribe if you're new around here. There's another video to watch there. Support us on Patreon if you want to support the channel. We'll see you again next time. Bye for now. I stole your outro then, didn't I?